Good morning. Today we're looking at lesson 3.1 part B. In today's lesson we will be solving systems of linear equations algebraically. Remember yesterday we solved systems of equations graphically. Okay, now there are two ways to solve the system of equations. The first way is your substitution method. It's not my preferred method. I don't like it as much. But if I take a look at the steps here, step 1, solve one equation for one of the variables. Step 2, substitute the resulting expression into the other equation and replace the variable, then solve the equation. Step 3, substitute to solve for the other variable. Let me show you how to do this. Okay, when I'm working with this one, first thing that I want to do is I want to look at which equation. I've got my first equation right here, and I've got my second equation right here. Which equation is going to be easiest to isolate one of the variables? And when I look up here, I see that this y up there is going to be the easiest thing to isolate. So what I do is I take that y, I take this equation, all right, I've got my 3x plus y equals 7. I'm going to try to get y all by itself, so I'm going to move the 3x off of this side onto the other side. Remember, that's going to be minus 3x. So what I have is y equals 7 minus 3x. Now, what you do with this equation is you're going to take this equation now and you're going to plug it back into this equation in place of that y. So, when I do that, I've got 4x plus 2. But now then, instead of the y variable, I'm going to put this equation right here. Right? 7 minus 3x. And then that's going to give me 16. I'm going to go ahead and simplify this equation out. 4x. I'm going to distribute my 2 to the 7. That's 14. I'm going to distribute my 2 to the negative 3x. That's minus 6x equals 16. I'm going to combine my like terms of 4x minus 6x. That's negative 2x plus 14 equals 16. Now I will subtract 14 from both sides. So that's going to give me 16 minus 14 is 2. Negative 2x equals 2. Now divide by negative 2. And so x equals negative 1. Alright, now that I have x, I can take this value of x and I can plug it right back in, right there, to get my value of y. So y equals 7 minus 3 times my x, in this case x is negative 1. Okay, and so that's going to be 7 minus negative 3 times negative 1 is plus 3. Y is 10. Alright, so your solution for this equation, negative 1, 10. Okay, looks like a big mess to me. But that's one way to do it. Let's take a look at another way to do it. And this is called the elimination method. Okay, your steps are right here on this screen. You've got step 1, 2, 3. Let me guide you through one here. Okay, in the elimination method, we're going to try to get the variables in one of the two equations to be opposites. Now, you've got to put some thought into this, and when I'm looking here, I'm seeing that if I would simply take this first equation and multiply it by negative 2, then that would make this y right here into negative 2y. You'll see why we want to do this in a second. Okay? So I'm going to multiply this entire first equation by negative 2. That's going to get me 3x times negative 2 is negative 6x. Y times negative 2 is negative 2y. And 7 times negative 2 is negative 14. Alright? Now then, here's the tricky part. We're done with this one. We are simply going to add these two equations together. Alright? So, let's go through here and get a marker here so I can illustrate what we're doing. Alright, the first ones we're going to add together are these two. Okay. So when I do that, 4x plus negative 6x is negative 2x. Okay? Next I'm looking at these two right there. Notice they're opposites. Opposites will cancel each other out. Those are gone. Okay? Next, I'm looking over here at these. I'm going to go ahead and put them together. 16 minus 14 is 2. So that tells me that I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2 to get x isolated by itself, and so x is negative 1. Notice how much quicker and concise that is than this problem right there. It's the same, exact same system of equations. Okay, now once you've got that, now the work is a little bit more involved. I will take this, and I'm going to go ahead and use this first equation right up here again. I've got my x now. I'm going to replace this x in that first equation with the negative 1. So 3 times negative 1 plus y equals 7. All right, negative 3 plus y equals 7. Let's add 3 to both sides, and y equals 10. All right, I've got the same solution for x and y as we did in this one right here. This is quicker and more concise, and you'd be much better at it. So your solution on this one is negative 1, 10. All right, so remember the steps. Select one equation to eliminate the variables with, and then eliminate those variables, and add the equations, eliminating one of the variables, then solve the equation. Substitute to solve for the other variable. All right? That's it for today's lesson. Thank you. We'll see you again tomorrow.